What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, unified, WBC, WBA, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer who is widely considered by many to be top two, if not number one best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Errol the Truth Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr., 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He is 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Well, his well-renowned trainer, soon-to-be two-time trainer of the year, future Hall of Famer, and Derrick James, he did an interview yesterday on Instagram Live, and obviously the question was raised about Errol Spence facing off in the biggest fight of his career and in the biggest fight in the sport of boxing against fellow undefeated three-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO, World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the number one best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford is 38 wins, no loss, no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout. He is 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, this is the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, and there was reports and rumors that the fight could take place in September, October, and November. We know Errol Spence, he was last in action April 16th, Arlington, Texas, AT&T, Dallas Cowboys Stadium, when he took on former WBA, now former WBA welterweight world champion, Cuban star boxer Yordenis Ugas, in which he brutally stopped Yordenis Ugas, breaking his rib, breaking his nose, and breaking his orbital bone, and getting the 10th round stoppage victory. Last time we saw Terence Crawford in the ring was November 20th of 2021, when he took on two-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Showtime Sean Porter, who is now retired and future Hall of Famer, and he got a 10th round stoppage victory over Sean Porter. With that said, Sean Porter is a rival foe, a common opponent for both guys, and they both have victories over Sean Porter. So with that said, Derrick James, he weighs in on this fight, and everybody's anxious to see what's going to happen. Everybody's anxious to hear the announcement. Everybody's eager and anxious, you know, to see these two in the ring, okay? Just the announcement that the fight is going to happen with a date and a venue is going to blow the top off of, you know, the sport of boxing, okay? And so with that said, Derrick James, he weighed in on what's the holdup, right? We hear so many different things. One common thing we hear is that Terence Crawford is pricing himself out, right? Or that you hear Errol Spence is pricing himself out. But mainly you hear that Terence Crawford is possibly pricing himself out of the fight, right? He's asking for a lot of money. The initial roadblock was the fact that Terence Crawford was signed with legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO Bob Arum, ESPN, and there was the side of the street because Errol Spence is with PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, founder and advisor Al Heyman, okay? And he fights on Showtime with Showtime President of Sports Steven Espinosa. So there was a hurdle, major roadblock, bringing the two together, and, you know, it just seemed like it wasn't possible. But now Terence Crawford is a free agent. Well, Terence Crawford, we know his numbers just aren't that big, okay? Combined, he did 3 pay-per-views. He did a pay-per-view with Victor Postal, he did a pay-per-view with Amir Khan, and he did a pay-per-view with Sean Porter, his last fight. And it reportedly combines for 350,000 pay-per-views. So with that said, Errol Spence, he did 4 pay-per-views in his career, but just one, his first pay-per-view, did 350,000 pay-per-views with 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia. So Derrick James, he states that Terence Crawford is just not a pay-per-view star. He's just not a big pay-per-view fighter, and that, you know, Terence Crawford, you know, had to be pulled from a scheduled pay-per-view event because he's just not a major draw, is what Derrick James stated. He stated that initially Terence Crawford's fight with Igor Kavalauskas was supposed to be a pay-per-view event, but they didn't believe that Terence Crawford would sell, and so they put it back on regular TV, is what Derrick James stated, okay? Then Derrick James, he stated that we are eagerly waiting to make this fight. We want to make this fight with Terence Crawford. We hungry for this fight. We can't wait till an announcement, and he urges the fans of Terence Crawford to buy their pay-per-views, right? He stated that, you guys need to support Terence Crawford, buy Terence Crawford's pay-per-view, okay? So Terence Crawford, he fought Igor Skavolaskas in December of 2019, and Derrick James was saying that was supposed to be a pay-per-view event, but it didn't come to fruition because they didn't believe the fans was going to support it, and they don't want to keep losing money. And so right now, the snag is that Showtime president of sports, Stephen Espinosa, said that everybody has to be realistic in their demands, and they have to be, sacrifice. They're willing to sacrifice to make this fight happen, right? And seems like obviously he's pointing the finger at Terence Crawford, and we know that even Team Crawford stated that it should be 50-50. Then they stated that the money is just not right. They're just not offering big money and things of that nature. And so the fight is being held up, right? And so now Derrick James, he's stating that, and urging the fans of Terence Crawford to, buy the pay-per-views, right? He stated, buy the pay-per-views so we can make this fight happen. Make sure you buy the pay-per-views so we can get this fight on the roll, right? He said, go out and support Terence Crawford and make sure you come out and support him. Clearly, Terence Crawford has a fan base, and clearly they're not supportive, right? And today's time with the piracy, it makes it even more difficult, right? Terence Crawford, he stated that in his last fight with Sean Porter, it was on ESPN Plus, right? ESPN Pay-Per-View Plus, and Terence Crawford, he had an issue with that. And Terence Crawford stated that, people couldn't find it, right? They didn't know where to find it. He said he had so many people that contacted him and saying, I want to support it, I want to buy it, but I don't know where to buy it at, right? Which is also, true. That can hold to be true because if you're not social media savvy, okay, and you don't have, a cell phone that, or a smart TV, contrary to popular belief, there's many people that don't have those things, right? Smart TVs and things of that nature to be able to buy ESPN Plus, right? And so people just get frustrated, and they're like, all right, forget it. I'll either find a way to stream it or I just won't buy it and just waiting to watch it on YouTube, right? So he blamed that, but that's still his second highest pay-per-view. His first pay-per-view against Victor Postal was not on Victor Postal fight. That was not on an app. That was on regular format, okay? I believe it was actually on HBO format, right? So it was on a regular format. And so what's the reason for that not doing over 50,000 pay-per-views? You understand? So, nonetheless, it's just that it just seems as if Terence Crawford's hardcore fan base, is just not as big as Errol Spence's fan base, right? Errol Spence has a bigger fan base. Errol Spence is more proven as far as being a bigger draw, okay? And so, Derrick James is saying that they're eagerly waiting, sitting on their hands, and they can't wait. They're anxiously waiting to make this fight, and they know, they know what they have to do to be victorious, okay? Since Errol Spence beat Yordenis Ugas, he's been full speed ahead with making this fight with Terence Crawford, okay? He's very aggressive with making this fight with Terence Crawford, and you can hear the excitement and the eagerness in the voice of Derrick James when Derrick James was talking about making this fight happen. Derrick James said that he believes Errol Spence is even better than he was in the past. He stated that, obviously Errol Spence is more focused. Errol Spence, he's admitting that in the past that he was, unfocused in between fights. He let himself go up in weight where he had to have weight loss camps instead of focusing on strategy and his opponents and things of that nature. So with that said, it's abundantly clear, that they've been waiting for this fight. And to me, it's abundantly clear that Terence Crawford is looking at it as a standpoint and as an investment. He's going to be 35 next month. By the time this fight happens, he would have been 35. If this fight takes place in November, he would be 35 and out the ring for a year. and fought 3 times in 3 years. It's an investment for Terence Crawford. So hopefully we get an announcement. Hopefully we get a deal done. And we know that Stephen Espinosa, he came out and said it's 50-50 chance the fight happens. Well, if it's 50 chance it happens, there's 50% chance it don't happen. And that's not a good thing. So let's see how this unfolds. Derrick James urges the fans of Terence Crawford to go buy the pay-per-views, support Terence Crawford, you know, so they could get the fight on. And, you know, they're already working on strategy. They're already preparing themselves for how to beat Terence Crawford, right? I believe that we know we saw Errol Spence was already in the gym just 48 hours after his fight with Ugas. So they're hungry. Terence Crawford is in the gym right now. Let's get the business part and the politics out the way, and let's get it signed. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.